What's up, guys? It's Morgan from Lynchpin. Today, I'm going to talk about two resources I use to find stocks I want to trade. Long story short, it's finviz.com and quiverquant.com/Wall Street Bets. Let me explain why I utilize these and what the value is for me. So, long and short of it, whenever I'm day trading, I tend to trade options on Snapchat. However, outside of that, for my other account, I do a lot of swing trades. I do a lot of investing. So, for instance, right now I'm in the screener and then all tab for FinViz. Okay. I switch the dividend yield to positive and then the RSI to oversold. Right now I'm sorting by market cap. Okay. You'll notice it gives you the ticker. So Chevron's up here. You've got the Toronto Dominion Bank, Anheuser-Busch InBev. I look for stocks in regards to investments a lot differently than I look for stocks that I day trade. The reason is when I day trade, I need volatility. When I'm looking for stocks to invest in long term, I'm looking for dividends and steady growth. For me, I look at something like Bud or even BP that have a lot of potential. These are oversold on a 14-day period. If you mouse over each of the items, it kind of explains what it is. But the cool thing about FinViz is you get both a fundamental aspect as well as the technical aspect. So regardless of what kind of trading you do, which me, I rely mostly on the technical side when I'm day trading or swing trading. But when I'm investing, I look a lot more at the fundamentals, things like what kind of debt do they have? What does money flow look like? So this is an example of how I look at dividend stocks. Now, if I come down here and reset it, one of the other things I can look for is oversold volatility stocks, things I want to swing trade. So for me, once again, I'll switch this RSI to 30. I'll look at relative volume of, let's say, over 1.5 times that. So it's an uptick in volume. You can go higher, you can go lower. 1.5 is usually a pretty fair assessment of something that might be reversing for me because you want to buy low, sell high, right? If you're long. Now, keep in mind, you can go with options and attempt to short it, or if you do short stocks, I don't normally short outside of using put options myself. So the other thing that I'll look at is the beta, and beta has to do with the volatility. I like a beta usually over about 1.5. So if you look at something like Bud hit both of these scans for me. That's really a top candidate for me to potentially trade. Just an idea that I'm throwing out there. Now, another set of stocks that I look at are things that are low float. So basically, the float is how many shares are outstanding for the company that aren't locked up by institutions, inside owners, etc. The lower the float, the more volatile it can be. Now, just because it's a low float doesn't make it a good investment. As a matter of fact, on a low float, I recommend get in, get out. Once you get your gain, get out. It can run, but it never holds it, at least in my experience. So I've traded a lot of low floats. So I like the under 50 million shares. You can go under 100. Oftentimes, I'll be somewhere maybe 50 to 100 million tops as far as shares. For this example, we'll just do under 50 million. And then we'll do oversold. One of the things I like to look at for this to see if there's kind of any volatility in them, I go under 10, so more a penny stock range. You'll notice we have 107 results. That's still too many for me. And keep in mind, with low floats, I don't recommend trading the options myself. The reason why is there's no liquidity for them. So I only trade like options on bigger companies where you're going to have options changing hands, so to speak. With these low floats, oftentimes options don't work well. That's just my opinion, my experience. So this is something that I'll look at. Then I can add something like relative volume. You'll notice we're down to 20 tickers. Then I can kind of go through and see, everything's on the downtrend. SBG looks like it got hit hard, some of those types of things. Now, I want to talk about, again, how I determined why I'm trading Snapchat. Snapchat's not perfect, but I kind of got a feel for the stock. That's how I ended up on it. But the things that I kind of look for myself is this option short option. If you do optionable, this means that the stock does have options to trade, which, again, much more volatility, much more opportunity for gains or losses, but a lot less capital required. So that's why I really like it. I think the upside is huge. Then I look at things like what's the beta. For Snapchat, I believe it's only over 1. Let's see. And you'll notice Snap really doesn't have like a massive beta, but I mean, it moves enough. That's why I picked Snap is kind of that and familiarity with the stock. It's also easier to track news for the stock. I'm not a fan of Snapchat as a company. I'm really not. I don't like social media companies personally, but the truth be told, there's something about the stock that I really like for all of my indicators. So what's really nice is not only do you get kind of technical analysis through the chart and various items in the table, but you also have a fundamental analysis. I mean, look at things like price to sales, forward PE, etc. I know social media is an outlier for these things. That's why I don't trade based on that. I trade a lot based on technicals. And again, sometimes you might get smacked for it, but that's why I trade intraday for this kind of stuff and invest in dividends and things like that long term. But you'll also notice all the news here. Here we are with QuiverQuant. Now, I like to go to Wall Street Bets, but oftentimes I kind of get a little bit distracted. It's entertaining, it's fun, it's cool, and I thoroughly enjoy visiting the subreddit. But a lot of the times it's kind of hard to discern the data. A lot of posts get deleted, things like that. The reason that I love QuiverQuant is it aggregates all that data, and I can look at what is getting the most mentions over, a couple of days to a week to a month. I don't know why it's broken right at the moment. Of course it is. But you can also see trends with the stocks, as well as a whole list of how many mentions it's actually getting. I like this because a lot of times you can see a general trend. Then I'll go and take a sampling of posts from the subreddit and kind of analyze that. So to put this into perspective, I have absolutely made money on AMC, GameStop, BlackBerry, Clover, and I believe CLNE. I don't remember the name of the stock. However, the point is, when I'm looking for momentum, Wall Street Bets has disrupted the space, and it's amazing. So I kind of use this in tandem with that board to understand. Now, keep in mind, there's also an incredible feature to look at the House of Representatives and their trades on this platform. So I'm going to put a link down in the description for both websites. Check them both out. I'm not saying they're the only thing to use, but long story short, these are the things that I use for anything outside of a day trade, because of the fact that I find a lot of use in them. And again, something like Wall Street Bets, it's been a fantastic resource, giving those momentum plays and allowing me to take part in some of those moves. So again, thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.